Masons agree. Albert Pike wrote, "Reason is the absolute, for it is in it we must believe." Remember that Albert Pike entitled his book, Morals and Dogma. That means that this book was written to teach the Mason what the Masonic morality is. And what Mr. Pike was saying in his book about morality was that if you think it, you can do it. Adam Weishaupt, once again the founder in 1776 of the secret society called the Illuminati, agreed with this statement. He wrote this: "Man will be rescued from his fall through the secret schools of wisdom. Reason will be the only law of man." When at last reason becomes the religion of man, then will the problem be solved. Reason will be the code of laws to all mankind. This is our great secret. So the Masons and the Illuminati have bought the lie of Lucifer. Man is to make his own morality, his own view of right and wrong, and forget the moral teachings of God. And Albert Pike spoke for the Masons when he agreed. Human reason leaps into the throne of God and waves her torch over the ruins of the universe. Notice that Mr. Pike believed that God had messed up the universe and that Lucifer and man, using his reason, will correct the situation. Others believe that man can devise similar systems that use reason as its base. One of these was Zbigniew Brzezinski, who was President Jimmy Carter's national security advisor. Brzezinski wrote a book entitled Between Two Ages, in which he says that communism, specifically Marxism, is one such plan. He wrote this on page 72 of that book: "Marxism is simultaneously a victory of reason over belief." What he was saying was that Marxism is based upon knowledge or fact, and that religion is based upon belief. Marxism is fact, and religion is superstition. He went on to explain what the major contribution of Marxism was: its revolutionary and broadening influence, which opened man's mind to previously ignored perspectives. Marx opened up man's mind with the lie of absolute reason. So Marx bought the lie of Lucifer, and so did Brzezinski. As I've said, Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, the founder of an occult group called the Theosophical Society, wrote a book entitled The Secret Doctrine in 1888, in which she talks about the secret worship of the ancient mysteries. On page 162 of that book, she says this: "Lucifer, the spirit of intellectual enlightenment and freedom of thought." So we can see a pattern developing amongst those of the occult sciences. They all share a belief in Lucifer. These people all believe that Lucifer is the light bearer. And to show you that Albert Pike believes the same thing, he added the morality of the Masonic Lodge to the discussion. Remember that his book was entitled, once again, Morals and Dogma. This is how he described the morals of the Masonic Lodge on page 37 of his book. "All truths are truths of period and not truths of eternity." And repeated the idea on page 52. "What is untrue today may become true in another generation." So there are no absolutes. Whatever is true today is false tomorrow. So this is a common thought amongst the occultists. That is what is being taught in the public schools today, in America, in the field of sex education. Simply stated, there is no morality being taught in sex education today. Each individual is to decide for himself what is right and wrong in the area of sex. Parents, the rabbi, the priest, and the minister cannot teach anyone what is right and wrong about sex today. The public schools are teaching that each one is to decide for himself. And to show you that it is my opinion that the public school system is teaching situations as a national policy, let me show you this, the symbol of the National Education Association. I am not a member of this group, but in 1985 I went to their office here in Tucson and asked for this copy of their symbol. They gladly provided one for me, and when I asked the manager of the office what all of these symbols meant, he told me that he did not know. So I would like to give you my explanation. Notice, first of all, that the colors are red, white, and blue, and that means that they are patriotic. So whenever anyone is critical of their organization, they can claim that their colors are right off the American flag, and that the person making the accusation is the one that is unpatriotic. But there is, I believe, a hidden message concealed inside the entire thing. The symbol on the inside is the symbol of pi, denoting the ratio of the circumference of a circle to its diameter. Pi is called an absolute, meaning that it will be the same everywhere in the universe. Pi will have the same ratio on Earth that it will have on Mars, or for that matter on any other planet anywhere else in the universe. The red arrow placed on top of the pi symbol, I believe, is public education. And notice that it cuts through, it pierces, or it kills the absolute symbol of pi. What this symbol is saying is that the purpose of public education, I believe, is to destroy or annihilate the absolutes in the universe. It is intended to destroy absolutes, just like Albert Pike and the others wanted. I cannot prove it, but I think that it is what these symbols are saying. I think it is fair to conclude that the symbol is saying that public education exists to destroy absolutes. And the method they are using to destroy moral absolutes in our schools is by teaching situation ethics, the philosophy that teaches there are no moral absolutes. And that program was supported by the Masonic Lodge. Albert Pike wrote this in his book entitled Agenda. In these degrees, you become pledged to the cause of true freedom, of free thought, free speech, and free conscience. That means that in the New World Order, there will be no biblical morality. That is what Mr. Pike means by free conscience. Each man is to decide for himself what is right and wrong. There are still others who agree that there is no morality in the New World Order. Adam Weishaupt, the founder of the Illuminati, wrote this: "Behold our secret. If in order to destroy all Christianity, remember that the end justifies the means." What he was saying was that whatever it takes to get the job done is permissible. There is no concept of morality in a philosophy such as this. There is no morality if you believe as Adam Weishaupt taught. Do whatever you have to do to advance the cause. If you have to break God's, quote, artificial, unquote, morality, you have authority from Adam Weishaupt to do so. It is interesting to examine what the Masons think about Adam Weishaupt's declaration that he and the Illuminati are out to destroy all Christianity. Those are Professor Weishaupt's own words that anyone can read if they will only look for them. This is once again Albert Mackey's encyclopedia. Mr. Mackey was a 33rd degree Mason, and he wrote what is commonly referred to as the finest Masonic encyclopedia ever written. The first page of the book says this about Albert Mackey. His, meaning Albert Mackey's, writings are universally esteemed for their sincerity, honest records, and common sense. And the book goes on to say that Mr. Mackey was a leader who valued accuracy. And this is what Albert Mackey said about the Illuminati and their leader. The original design of Illuminism was undoubtedly the elevation of the human race. He went on to say Weishaupt was a Masonic reformer. He went on to say Weishaupt could not have been the monster that he's been painted by his adversaries. He went on to say Weishaupt had hoped by it to effect much good. He went on to say his, meaning Weishaupt's, honest desire was to do much good. So we can now see what the Masons think about the Illuminati. The destruction of Christianity elevates the human race. Notice that anyone who can read the simple English language can find this out. The Illuminati was out to destroy Christianity, and the Masons praise the organization. That is found on page 347 of Volume 1 of Mackey's Encyclopedia for those who do not believe it. Now we must continue our study of the Masonic Lodge, and to do so we must utilize their own writers. And I have done so with 9 of their own experts, each of whom is an established authority inside the Masonic fraternity. To understand the Masonic Lodge, we must explore the 33rd degree. Manly P. Hall has told us just how important it is. He wrote, philosophically, the 33rd degree of the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite represents the innermost sanctuary of Masonic mysticism. What he was saying is that this is the key degree inside all of the Masonic Lodge. We can read part of the 33rd degree initiation ceremony. It can be found on pages 363 and 364 of this book entitled Occult Theocracy by Edith Starr Miller. This book was published in 1933, but before we read that part of the ceremony, I have to furnish you with a little background that will help the viewer understand what Mrs. Miller wrote. Masons claim their first Grand Master of the Lodge was Hiram Abiff. Hiram Abiff is mentioned in the Old Testament of the Bible as the builder of King Solomon's temple. There are at least 2 brief mentions of him in the Old Testament. From those 2 brief mentions, the Masons have built an enormous legend. The Masons tell their members that the legend they tell in their temples is at variance with the biblical account. This is what 33rd degree Mason Rex Hutchins wrote in his book entitled A Bridge to Light. This is in that book that was published by the Masonic Lodge. The biblical account of the story of Hiram is occasionally at variance with the legend as told in Masonic instruction. For example, we are told in 1 Kings 7:40 that Hiram finished all the work he had been commissioned to do by King Solomon and presumably returned to his country. But Masonic tradition asserts the death of Hiram during the construction of the temple. So the Masons acknowledge that the Bible only has part of the truth about Hiram Abiff. Their recordings of his life are more accurate and complete a story. But even the name Hiram has a concealed message. This is a little book entitled Symbolism of the 3 Degrees, written by a Mason named Oliver Day Smith. This book was given to every Mason in the state of New Jersey because it is published by the Grand Lodge of that state. This is what the author says about the name of Hiram. It is said that Hiram, in its pure and original form, literally meant light or the sun. So even the name of their hero has a concealed symbol connection to the sun. The Masons claim that Hiram was a member of the Masons and was called a Master Mason. A Master Mason is one who has the secrets of the Masonic Lodge and has taken an oath to protect those secrets even on the pain of death. The other Masons who did the actual construction were called Apprentice Masons. And Apprentice Masons do not have the secrets of the Master Masons. 3 of the Apprentice Masons decided that they wanted to know the secrets of the Master Mason Hiram Abiff, so they confronted him as he was leaving the temple one night. Hiram Abiff refused to give the 3 men the secrets, so the last Apprentice Mason killed him. According to the legend, Hiram Abiff was murdered at the west gate of the temple, which is where the sun sets. So we can see another connection to Hiram Abiff and sun worship. The 3 scoundrels in the legend were named Jubilo, Jubilah, and Jubilam. As far as I can tell, these names are not translated by the Masons, but I believe they have something to do with the word light in Latin. A Latin dictionary defines the word jubar, or jubar, with these words. In literature, the light of the sun. When I took high school Spanish, I learned to conjugate words such as I am, you are, we are. So I believe that jubilo means I am light, jubila means she is light, and jubilam means we are light. So the whole legend has enormous significance to the Mason and concealed truth. Now I'd like to return to our study of the 33rd degree ritual from the book entitled Occult Theocracy. I'd like to explain that Mrs. Miller, the author of the book, is not a member of the Masons, and it is a fair question to ask as to why we should believe her when she quotes from a part of the 33rd degree ritual. The reason that I believe her is because I have found other Masonic materials which confirm that she had found the truth, a part of the 33rd degree ritual. So I believe that what we are about to read is the truth. This is what Mrs. Miller said is contained within the 33rd degree ritual. For the sovereign inspector, the 33rd is the last degree of the right. The order is the order could mean very well the 33rd degree, or perhaps even the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, is the great avenger of the assassinated Grand Master. That means that the 33rd degree, at least, is out to avenge the death of Hiram Abiff, the Grand Master of the Masonic Lodge. This is extremely significant for reasons I'm about to explain. And she went on, and the grand champion of humanity for the innocent Grand Master is man. Man who is master, king of nature, man who is born innocent and unconscious. Notice that Mrs. Miller is reporting that the Masons say that Hiram is not a man, but a symbol of all mankind. The Masons in the 33rd degree are taught that the hero of their legend is not a man, but is a symbol of all of us, meaning he represents all of humanity. The ritual